President Trump wants to fire federal workers. He wants to have the authority to hire and fire federal workers at will. Hey, guess what? This is what happens in the public job sector. Why can't it happen in the government? It's a no-brainer. It's common sense.
To the surprise of absolutely nobody, Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the front lines fighting tooth and nail to get Donald Trump back in office in 2024, baby. Because, you know, you're fired. That's a lot of what got him where he is.
Jim Smith, you've done a hell of a lousy job. You're late and you don't treat our vets right. Jim, I'm sorry, you're fired. Get out of here. Right? We will save our kids, and every federal bureaucrat who is complicit in this travesty needs to immediately be fired. You're fired. You got to be fired or worse.
Number one, he is going to pardon many of the January 6 rioters. I fully support that. Many of these people have been locked up and it's wrong. Not all of them. Some of them deserve to be in jail, but many of them deserve to be pardoned. And President Trump is the only presidential candidate that has said he will pardon these people. They've been persecuted.
And then she goes into, freeing the January 6th insurrectionists, because that's what, millions of Americans across the country are worried about. We're not worried about paying our bills. We're not worried about being able to afford health care or send our children to get a better education and then get a decent job in the job market. No. We're not concerned about any of those things. We're not concerned about the cost of living. We're not worried about the environment. We're not worried about the fact that Roe v. Wade was reversed. None of those things matter. No. We want to free the people who literally raided and stormed the heart of the nation. We want to let them out of jail because, they really deserve it above people who, maybe were put in prison for nonviolent offenses. Maybe they were smoking some weed, or maybe even it was some harder drugs. Maybe they were smoking crack. Who knows what it was, but they weren't hurting anybody. I think that perhaps those are the people who should be released. But, the January 6th insurrectionists, other than the MAGA crowd, nobody cares.
Plan to secure the border on day one of my new term in office. I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship.
And the more and more time drags on, the more the Republican Party just alienates the entire American voting base. More and more, all they can do is push racism, push sexism, push hatred for the LGBTQ community. That's literally all they have left. They can't pivot.
Who ever thought it was a good idea to invite 500 gay people into a lavish mansion with two pools and a live booze?
Woo!
I think we're going to need the Secret Service tonight. Just, be careful with them. I know there's people in this room who would love to be tackled and frisked by the Secret Service.
They reverse Roe v. Wade. State after state, they're pushing these 6-week abortion bans. They're doing everything they can to make it so that anyone who isn't a white Republican, make it difficult for you to vote. We don't want you to send in early ballots. We don't want you to mail them in. None of those things. Again, the further time goes on, the more, as we just watched Donald Trump say, if he gets reelected, he's going to make it so that, DACA ends. We don't need that. We don't need the dreamers. If you come over here and you're born to undocumented parents, you're also an undocumented immigrant yourself. And who does that appeal to other than racist evangelical white Republicans? Absolutely nobody.